Who was the worst quarterback in week 1? Who made their way to number 1 in this week's power rankings? Find all of that out on this week's episode of Winners and Losers. Hi guys, I'm Chase Keller and welcome to this new series called Winners and Losers. I won't keep you guys for long. I just want to explain that there are 5 sections: player winner, player loser, team winner, team loser, and question mark. That's all I got for you guys today, so let's kick this video off talking about the player winner of the week. We go defense for this first selection, as I have Falcon safety Jessie Bates III being the player winner of the week. Bates registered 10 tackles, 1 run stop, 1 forced fumble that ended up being recovered by Atlanta, and 2 interceptions on rookie quarterback Bryce Young. Bates was extremely disruptive overall, being a plus run defender and an elite coverage free safety. Expanding on those coverage statistics, Bates was targeted twice and obviously picked it off on both of those targets. 4 of his 10 tackles also came in the pass, as you'll see one of them in a clip here. Overall, you just couldn't test Bates anywhere on the field, and it is clear that despite changing coordinators and defensive tendencies, Bates is still a top dog. Let's discuss some of these plays here, beginning with his first interception. The Falcons here are defending shotgun with a 4-2-5 defense, which is not what I was expecting for this upcoming season. They played man on the left side of the field, with linebacker Caden Ellis covering the running back. Contradicting that, Jessie Bates is holding his own zone where he's standing, presumably covering the left side with Adam Thielen going deep here. Instead, Thielen is covered and Hayden Hurst is going to run an out and in route, attacking the middle of this cover 2 defense. Troy Anderson is going to lose Hurst as he runs inside, but Bates reads this route perfectly and jumps it to pick it off. Honestly, this was Bryce Young's best read. Bates just made a perfect play. Where BY did make a mistake was testing Bates in nearly the exact same way. Instead of a cover 2, Bates is the deep free safety in this cover 1 against a bunch receiver set. Only one guy is a serious threat, and that is Terrace Marshall on the right side, running a corner route to the inside. Bates didn't have to do much on this play, but forcing another turnover is always great. And then, he proceeded to force a 3rd turnover on a heads-up effort play. A simple run up the inside was supposed to turn into 2nd and short. Bates fairly easily sheds a block from Thielen and gets his hand in there to force the fumble and give Atlanta the ball. Bates also recorded 10 tackles on Sunday, only missing 1 the entire day. He showed fantastic technique, different depending on the player. On this play against Miles Sanders, Bates saves a 3rd down through immediately stopping Sanders in his tracks on a very similar play to his 3rd quarter fumble. Overall, Bates played phenomenal and couldn't really play much better, forcing 3 turnovers against the Carolina Panthers. He still proved he was a top tier safety on Sunday, and showed a scheme switch is not going to affect him. The player loser of the week was a toss-up between a couple quarterbacks and Kadarius Toney. I wanted to shed away from Kadarius Toney and go with the QB that had the least amount of wiggle room. Tennessee's Ryan Tannehill is the player loser of the week. His stat line looked like 16 for 34 passing, 198 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. In the air, it was just clear that Tannehill was very rusty. He had 0 big-time throws, displayed terrible accuracy and poise, and should have debatably had 4 interceptions. There's other quarterbacks whose performances could compete with Tannehill as the worst, but his situation is why Tannehill took this loser spot. He has Malik Willis and Will Levis behind him, 2 recently drafted quarterbacks who were drafted with a semi-high draft capital. Willis is the first to take up that job, but I don't see him doing much better in the air. All I gotta say is that if Tannehill keeps this up, he won't have a job for much longer, and the Titans may be drafting in the top 5 for the 2024 NFL Draft. Let's get into this film here. On the first play, Tennessee turns this single back set into a play action with 3 possible reads. I can't say he made the worst one because Tyjae Spears was never open here, but he did make a very bad read. These 2 deep routes are going to nearly collide here, but obviously it was written up that way. So here is Chigo Okonkwo running a corner route and being wide open after linebacker Zach Bond missed his assignment. Instead of throwing to this guy, Tannehill underthrew this deep receiver in Chris Moore, turning a pass deflection by Alontae Taylor and an interception by Marcus May. Tannehill's general attributes were also not up to par in this game. On this play, he has 4 options in the passing game with, I believe, Chris Moore going deep again, DeAndre Hopkins going semi-deep, Chigo Okonkwo coming inside, and his eventual target, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, curling in. To his defense, the goal was to go deep, and Ikhine was his only open route here. He gets out of the pockets and play makes Ikhine in a final attempt for a first. He was open, but he proceeds to make this monstrosity of a throw on the run that debatably should have been stopped on a dime. Did Tannehill have the worst performance of the week? No, he didn't. Did Tannehill have space to make these mistakes? He also didn't have those. Tannehill is the player loser of the week for that reason. The team winner of the week was much more competitive than I originally intended. I thought San Fran was going to run away with it until I started thinking more. The Detroit Lions, LA Rams, and Dallas Cowboys were all good competitors. In the end, San Francisco still came out on top as the team winner of the week. They came out to number 1 in my power rankings, and if you want to see the full list of those, subscribe to my Patreon in the description below. The 49ers blew out the Steelers 30-7, showing dominance all over the field. On offense, the blocking was a bit subpar, but behind a nice passing performance from Brock Purdy and a dominating run performance from Christian McCaffrey, that wasn't needed. On defense, the Niners had a brick wall all game. The pass rush was on point, putting together 28 pressures and 5 sacks, including 3 from Drake Jackson. The run defense was pretty good, and the coverage game forced 5 yards per attempt and 2 interceptions. The film is even more impressive. Looking at the pass game first, this bunch set turned into 5 targets for Brock Purdy, a majority of them being open. He's going to end up picking Cole Holcomb to target, hitting Debo for a 22-yard gain on 1st and 15. Ultimately, he chose a risky read and it paid off with his very nice accuracy. He also had a couple other guys open. You have a check down of one of the best open field threats in football. You have Brandon Ayuk going deep, who seemed that he had safety Keanu Neal beat, but he did score 2 plays later. You have George Kittle, who would have gained 8 or so yards at least with his inside curl, but Purdy went for the risky route and it paid off heavily. Plays like these is why the 49ers won 30-7. I think it's obvious what play I'm using for the run, and I'm not even going to explain it. I just want you to watch how beautiful this Christian McCaffrey carry is. On defense, I mentioned they played great everywhere. This play was no exception. Pittsburgh attacks this zone defense with a few medium routes and George Pickens going deep. The only player who got somewhat open was Pickens going deep, but by that time, Pickett was out of time. Eric Armstead came in with the hurry, and Drake Jackson finished it off. You can even see from this angle, the defensive line just buried the entire O-line, with the double team on Nick Bosa being the only win on this line. The 49ers showed pure dominance on Sunday, and it was enough to boost them up to number 1 in a majority of power rankings. Again, if you want to see my full power rankings, go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon. Anyways, San Francisco wins the team winner of the week. So, if you didn't already know, I don't include Monday Night Football for these winner-loser rankings, meaning that the early Sunday slate of games has an even bigger opportunity to be a winner or a loser. The first 3 of these sections have been the 1 o'clock Sunday games, but not quite for this one. Sunday Night Football comes into tact here, as the team loser of the week is the New York Giants. New York got shut out 40-0 at home against the Dallas Cowboys, and it's even crazier noting that this was the biggest in the series history. In terms of just this game though, the Giants just couldn't get anything done anywhere. The first drive was promising until a bad snap by John Michael Schmitz turned the momentum completely backwards, more backwards than I have ever seen in a professional matchup. The offense was terrible. The team's best players came in Saquon Barkley, Darren Waller, and Andrew Thomas, the normal great guys, but they were all well worse than normal. Their blocking was god-awful, allowing 27 pressures, 19 hurries, and 7 sacks. The run blocking was full of missed blocks and needing Saquon to do all of the work. On defense, the pass coverage was actually solid, but the run defense was terrible. It contributed to 3 touchdowns and 4.1 yards per attempt. So where do we see this in the film? Everywhere. I'm going to take out one drive of 3 plays for this film study right here. First play, sloppy play call, as the Giants tried to bring Ben Bredesen to block Dante Fowler. I won't even put the blame on him. It's a hard job, and he was nowhere close to having that block ready. Second play was a quick pass look, but Daniel Jones forgot the quick part, holding off on his pass to Waller and then turning it into a pass breakup. On play 3, Jones missed Darren Waller trying to read Isaiah Hodgins on the outside, and once he could have seen Waller, his O-line forgot how to block Micah Parsons, and he just swiftly went down. And that was just the offense. I'm not even accounting for the defense, who played miles better than this offense, and that's saying something when this was a 42-0 blowout. With this loss, the Giants fall from number 8 to number 22 in my power rankings, which is the biggest fall I've ever had in a power ranking. Rounding this video out, I'm going to talk about the question mark of the week. This is kind of just like, I don't want to put this as a stock up or a stock down. I'm just going to keep it neutral, and I'm going to ask a lot of questions about this team. I actually almost threw this team as my biggest loser until I had further thought and until the Giants played. My question mark of the week regards the Cincinnati Bengals. They got blown out by the Cleveland Browns, and while Cleveland may be on the come up, Cincinnati did stink. As of recent, they have not been great to open up the season, including last year where they opened the season 0-2. Cleveland is on the come up. The weather throughout the game was pretty damn bad, so blatantly there are some excuses for this Cincinnati team. Yet, per usual in a 3-24 loss, there were problems. This includes a lackluster pass attack against a mediocre secondary and the O-line playing pretty bad in itself. Cleveland produced only 17 pressures, but they were efficient with all of them, and they just bullied this entire Cincinnati O-line. So obviously, after getting blown out by a division rival, there are going to be questions about this team. Yet, there are still plenty of reasons to believe in them, which makes them the question mark of the week. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm doing this series and a weekly preview series all season, so you're missing out. Once again, I'm Chase Keller from Chase Keller Journalism, and thank you guys so much for choosing this channel as your source of sports coverage. I'll see you guys in the next video.